Hey yo, we're gonna start this video off by asking one simple question. Is Mina Ashiro gonna be okay, dog? Because what a cliffhanger to end off this chapter 114 with. Seeing Kafka on the ground hurt with no vitals. Seeing Mina about to have a Sukuna world-cutting slash go through her midline. This chapter was dark and scary at the same time, but more than anything, I'm starting to get this feeling too that, ironically, one of the biggest victims in this whole manga has been Kaiju number 9. Kaiju number 9 is somebody that is driven by his thirst for knowledge, but I also can't help but see how naive he was whenever he was a young, intelligent kaiju. And the Daikaiju of the Meireki era took advantage of Kaiju number 9's curiosity and how naive it was. And I feel awful for number 9 in certain aspects because a lot of his life was probably dictated by this Daikaiju inhabiting his body. Number 9 was almost seemingly a puppet for this Daikaiju. But we'll talk about that in this video. Let's get into it. So chapter 114 starts off with a very powerful flashback of Kaiju number 9's childhood. It talks about how whenever he was a child, he was really weak, but smart, and he really thought that that's all that there was to him. So he tried to live a quiet life and stay out of the way of humans, until one day he finally had a direct interaction with a human. And that day changed his life forever, because on that day he learned that he was stronger than humans. There was probably a guy out hunting for food for his family, and number 9 ended up running into this human and killing him. And ever since that day, number 9 has not been able to stop. He just wants to research humans. He wants to be in the human world and see what he's truly capable of. And as he was continuing his knowledge, one day he came across this Daikaiju of the Meireki era. And whenever we see this Daikaiju in this cave space, it was really weird. It started making me question, how did this thing live for this long? Presumably it got defeated in that battle during the Meireki era, right? Hoshina even told Kafka that, and it's written about in textbooks. So I can't help but think that this thing may have been sealed underground for all these years and needed somebody to unseal it. Did number 9 literally perform something that unsealed this Daikaiju? And what sucks is that's all we saw of the flashback. We don't know what happened in an interaction between 9 and this amalgamation of this Daikaiju from the Meireki era, but just telling to see that this thing has been around for that long, underground, undetected too, right? No fortitude was felt from this thing. Number 9 just happened to encounter it because he felt like he was guided to it. It was also weird to see number 9 say that he felt like he was guided to it. We're reading a shonen series, so we know, dog, ain't no way that bro just feels like he was guided to it. I'm sure that this Daikaiju from the Meireki era had some way to communicate with number 9, had some way to give him an inkling of where to come, why to come.
Pause.
Pause? Pause what?
I don't know, but I don't think that number 9 was just found this by himself. I think that this Daikaiju had a way to guide number 9 there. And on top of that, if this Daikaiju did need some sort of way to rehabilitate itself, right? Find a way to gain strength in the meantime, it makes sense that it inhabited Kaiju number 9 until it finally got its strength up enough to be able to leave number 9's host body. Now, I don't know if it could have left without the core being destroyed, but it obviously housed itself inside of number 9's core. So even that in itself is a question. How did this huge Daikaiju find a way to inhabit itself and to just put itself inside number 9's core? I'm excited to figure out that aspect of things, but after we get done seeing number 9's flashback, things go back to real time where Reno and Iharu finally have all those huge glowing white Daikaiju have stopped all activity in front of them. They aren't attacking anymore, and Reno buzzes over because he knows that that means that number 9 must have been defeated. He's happy buzzing over to see, hey senpai, did you beat number 9? But Mina is yelling for Kafka at the top of her lungs because 9 penetrated number 8's core. We see our scientists say that number 8's core is damaged, and they're getting a new fortitude reading that's coming from within number 9. And it is a fortitude in some sort of figure that they have never detected before. It's a completely new kaiju. And we see number 8 go berserk whenever it senses that Daikaiju from the Meireki era again, dog. It's crazy to see just how upset number 8 still is from an event that happened hundreds of years ago. And this is why we need Kafka to communicate with number 8, dog, because we are never going to understand why 8 is so mad until 8 and Kafka have a stable enough connection that they can communicate with each other and figure these things out. But 8 completely takes over and rips out the thing stabbing through its chest, only for 9 to end up having a slit go through its body, and that Daikaiju from the Meireki era pops out from the middle of it. And dog, that character design was absolutely dope, in my opinion. I feel bad because number 9 is literally just like a shell, bro, just a husk for this great calamity that is about to present itself in front of everybody of Japan. But immediately, this kaiju looks at number 8, and whenever it looks at number 8, all these kanji go around number 8's arm, and it blinks and immediately cuts through all those kanji that it was looking at. So it's clear to see that one of this Daikaiju's abilities is that if it sees something, it can place these kanji around it and then cut straight through whatever those kanji are. This is like some crazy like meta type ability that like we really haven't seen for the most part. I would say the next closest thing to a meta type ability like this that we've seen is that Daikaiju that 9 created, I think it was 14, that could literally just teleport places. So it was crazy to see this Daikaiju just completely blast number 8's arm off and then blast a hole through number 8's chest after knocking him back. And I think the most heartbreaking panel of this whole chapter, dog, was to see the girl that calls Kafka Mr. Kaiju Man burst out in tears when she sees number 8 get decimated by this new Daikaiju. Whenever we see Kafka on the ground after going one bout with this thing, we see our scientists also say that number 8's vitals are no longer detectable, which at this point, I don't think is true, right? I think that this is setting up number 8 to fully take over for Kafka at this point, bro. Number 8 is going to go berserk, and it makes me more worried for Kafka than I even am Mina at this point. And the reason that I'm not as worried for Mina is that there's one of two people that can save Mina next chapter. Either Kafka can go berserk and start attacking this Daikaiju before it can kill Mina, or Narumi has been in pursuit to this area since chapter 102. So Narumi could also pull up on the scene and help Mina and Kafka fight here. So I truly do think that even though the end of this chapter was a cliffhanger, we got Mina having the opportunity to be saved by two people. Kafka, whenever he fought against Isao and Kaiju number 8 took over and went berserk, his body was giving out versus Isao, and he said, I can't keep this up, bro. Like, my body can't keep doing this. And that was versus number 2. This Daikaiju of the Meireki era instills some sort of hate inside of number 8 that nothing else can compare to. Number 8 can't focus on anything else. Number 8 can't see anything else. It sees red when it sees this Daikaiju, and all it is thinking is die. It is thinking kill. So imagine just the lengths that it'll be willing to go to and how much it won't care what it's doing to Kafka's body while initiating battle with this Daikaiju. And that is what makes me worry for Kafka more than anybody else here right now. Not even necessarily because of what this Daikaiju is going to do to Kafka. I'm scared of what number 8 is going to do to Kafka because it is disregarding him in order to fight this Daikaiju. But we see that Mina immediately jumps into action once Kafka gets knocked up against the wall, and she says to drop ammo towards her right now so that she can use her signature weapon to take a shot at this thing before its limbs regenerate. But as they're dropping the ammo for her, this thing shoots another world-cutting slash at Mina that completely decimates the area that she's in. She has a bunch of cement splinters going inside of her body. Her gun, her signature weapon, that cannon, completely blasted to smithereens, and there's pieces from that have all gone inside of her, like a shrapnel bomb went off by her, bro. I felt awful, like a mortar bomb, whatever you want to call it, went off by Mina. It was crazy to see Mina like that, but Mina did not waver, dog. Mina immediately stands up and grabs her handgun to shoot at this thing. But on the cliffhanger ending, this thing ends up looking at Mina with its eyes to place that seal or those kanji straight down the middle of Mina's body. And Mina gets a flashback to those words that she heard from Kaiju number 9. No matter the era, no matter how strong, not a single person in history has escaped. And dog, what a chapter, what a cliffhanger, what dark times in this series, bro. What are we about to do versus this thing? The fact that it has such a meta ability that all it has to do is see something. This is what I think its ability is. All it has to do is see something. After it sees something, it can obviously place those kanji or place whatever it is on that thing's body, cut through those kanji, right? The one downside that I could see to this thing's attack is that I would imagine is if it can't see something, then it wouldn't be able to place those kanji on it. So if there's a way that they can provide like a smoke screen, or if they can attack this thing from a distance, I mean, Mina is our heavy artillery specialist that can snipe stuff from 20 kilometers away, but she's head on with this thing right now, right? She can't snipe this thing from kilometers away, and she's the only person that can use those railguns literally in the world, right? Itami told us that. So yeah, my only prediction for the next chapter is that we will finally see Narumi again. I think that Narumi is going to come in and possibly save Mina right here, but I am extremely terrified for what is about to follow up with Kafka next, dog. There's a lot of things that can happen to Kafka, and almost none of them are good, right? Kafka can fully lose control to number 8. Number 8 goes berserk and starts doing whatever with Kafka's body. Kafka could be dead. Yeah, those are about the two options that we got, right? In no facet do I think that Kafka is going to be the person waking up after this attack and continuing pursuit against this Daikaiju. It is either going to be Kafka is dead, or Berserk number 8 takes over and does what with all. So damn, man. This chapter was hype. One of my favorite chapters that we've gotten in a minute, but it honestly just left me kind of speechless because it was one of the darkest chapters that we've gotten in a minute, dog, especially after being so happy to possibly have beaten number 9 only to realize we're right back to square one, dog. And if anything, we've beaten number 9 multiple times till now. So us beating 9 wasn't really a surprise, but this Daikaiju is one of the first times in this series that I'm like, how are we gonna beat this thing, bro? This design was cool. I also wonder if it's going to fully like crawl out of this shell that is number 9 now. Excuse me. But it had its like hands like trying to like break out of number 9's chest. So is it going to find a way to like crawl out and fully just inhabit this world as itself? Or does it need to be within number 9 and like stay around the core that was damaged from 9 before? I don't know. That'll be an interesting thing to look at, but let me know what y'all thought about this chapter down below. Let me know if there's any topics that you want to talk about within the series. Love to hear that. But outside of that, hey, if you tune into this video, as always, arigato. And I will see y'all soon. Have a great weekend and peace.